This is Real Oregon Lifestyle with Andrea Fay and Jen Fiddler, two licensed real estate brokers who share their love of all things Oregon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Oregon Lifestyle. I'm Andrea Fay.
I'm Jennifer Fiddler.
And today we have guest Margaret Oscilia with Creative Concepts and Contracting. And she is our amazing stager that we love to work with.
Margaret's amazing.
Margaret is amazing. Before we get into it, I just wanted to remind everyone to enter into our Christmas photo light contest. And at the end of the episode, then we'll show you a submission that we got from someone that's really excited to enter this. We have a couple gift cards that we're going to be giving away. One is Oregon Coffee and Tea in downtown Corvallis, and that's a $100 gift card, guys. It's a pretty good one for some amazing coffee. And another gift card we have is Eats and Treats in Philomath, which is gluten-free, delicious barbecue. So go ahead and send us your submissions on that. But first, let's go ahead and get into our conversation with Margaret. Margaret, how long have you been doing staging?
About 15 years.
So a long time.
And it's changed a lot over the years. I can remember the first time I staged a house very early on for Jen. And I think about how unsophisticated really the staging was. But expectations have gotten more and more. People want the dream come true house and right out of House Beautiful. So, that's what we try to deliver regardless of the price point of the home, is that wow when people walk in.
Yeah, we really love your work because we know for our clients it's going to get the most bang for the buck and they're going to see a huge return on investment.
Yeah, huge return on investment. And you kind of mentioned one thing that Andrea and I were discussing and hoping you could shed some light on too. We sort of know it, but there's a psychology behind staging, and I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think that, and again, this is regardless of price point, when people are going to look at a house, they want to believe that house is the answer to all of their problems. So if people are living there, staging isn't just for vacant homes, it's also occupied homes. So when we're presenting a home that feels organized, that feels like it's all pulled together, people feel that their lives are going to be organized and well pulled together. And I joke when I do consultations that, you have the self-maintaining, self-cleaning house, your kids are going to mind, their bedrooms are always going to look good, but really that's what buyers are wanting. They're wanting something that makes them feel amazing. And we all know that all of our stuff is going to go with us to a house, but you work a lot with buyers, both of you, know that when they walk into a house and it feels amazing, that feel of the home lingers with them when they leave that house. And when we're staging a vacant house, when they walk in and instead of seeing the brown sectional that's kind of 5 years too old and frumpy stuff, they walk in and they see this beautiful, stylish furniture. I mean, instantly they think, oh, this is how it's going to look when I live there, And so there is a huge, powerful effect on that image that is a lot of subconscious.
It definitely is. And, I think it also works with people that are actually living in the home and maybe their decorating isn't that great and it doesn't meet the criteria of what is acceptable on the market these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even in my own home, I would have work to do if I was going to be listing my home for sale and taking down the family photos, and nobody wants to see things about our hobbies or our pets and things like that, and putting that away and putting up what I jokingly say to clients is, we're going to put up boring art. We don't want people to be remembering our art. We want them to remember the architecture of your home and how amazing the whole space looked in total, not, oh, I like that piece of art.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. In addition to kind of that, creating that feeling and the psychological benefits of staging, there's a huge financial benefit as a seller. And I'm sure you know the stats off the top of your head, as I don't, but what is the average return on staging?
Well, you can look at lots of different statistics. I like the statistics that come from the National Association of Realtors because they're more independent than a staging association, or if I said it personally, this is my own opinion. So, the staging associations and National Association of Realtors, they say, the return on investment is about 300%. So if you're spending, $2,000 on staging, you're getting at least $6,000 back in increased sales price, quicker sales. And when we started our business, a real estate agent that we worked with said to me, when in the good times, nobody's going to need you, and in the bad times, nobody's going to be able to afford you. So that kind of lit a fire under me to prove her wrong. And so here we are in 2020. We all know that it's a seller's market. So does that mean that we haven't been staging any properties? And it's just the opposite. We have more people investing in updates and understanding that they can still get an even higher price. And we've staged, a lot of properties this year. I think people are understanding that when people are viewing virtually, especially, that they're not going out to see every single house on the market now. They're looking online. And
Absolutely.
so that first impression online when it's vacant is just not a positive image.
I've seen
It's
so
not
many
true.
bad NAT reports this last year, and I always kind of think if they would have just put in some furniture, you wouldn't see, because with a MAT report, you can see every scrape, you can see every nick on the wall, every stain in the carpet. And there's been some very gorgeous homes that I've done the virtual walkthrough of, and I'm like, wow, this home just looks beat up. And it's probably just normal wear and tear that could, be kind of distracted with some staging and have a bigger, obviously, you would recommend that people do those kind of repairs and little things, added touches. But I think you just pick a house apart so much more when there's nothing else to look at to distract your eye.
Absolutely. And I call it the spiral downward, in that when people are walking through, they see one thing wrong, then they start looking for more. And then it's like, then pretty soon, instead of trying to look at how great the house is, they're just trying to pick it apart because they start noticing all these little things. Where if there's furniture and it's well presented, they're looking at the rooms in total rather than looking at the baseboards or, focusing on the trim or something like that.
They don't even see those little nicks and stuff sometimes. They don't even notice it because they're looking at the overall feel of what it feels like to be in that room.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a personal experience with this. The house that I live in, the owner was kind of into staging and decorating, or so she thought. And the house had been on the market for like 45 days, which in our market is quite a long time. And it had red walls and lots of brass finishes and things like that a lot of buyers can't look past, but I was able to, being in the industry. But the staging was horrible, and they were really proud of it. And they focused a lot on certain things that were just odd. Like there was one picture that was just of a newly installed kitchen faucet There was one picture of a bird feeder. The staging was like peacock feathers and really just kind of very odd and not appropriately sized. And I think that's really what killed it. She had these tiny little like kid rocking chairs as staging in the bedrooms, and it made the bedrooms look tiny. And I have a before and after picture on my Instagram of I just put a queen size bed in there and the room looks huge. And you wouldn't think putting a king size or a queen size bed in a room would make it look huge, but it does in comparison to when you have no frame of reference for how things are. And so I was out driving around and I had seen this house and I just kept passing by it. And I had my dog in the car and I noticed that there was a sign. I was like, oh, I think that's the house on Sapphire. I'm bored. I'm going to stop in. And even as an agent, I didn't want to go take the time to see it. So I stopped into the open house and I was like, wow, this house doesn't look nearly as good. It looks way better in person than it does on the pictures. And I told Grayson, I was like, we need to come over here and come back tonight. And he's like, no way, the house is ugly. He walked in and he's like, oh, we can do something with this. So, appropriate sized furniture, that's your real life example of me as an agent not being able to look past their staging.
Well, we also know that we all have experiences with people not understanding like spatial abilities. And remember our little story about your furniture sale and how they couldn't get it into the car because they thought it would fit, but it wouldn't fit. It's like that with houses too. And they just can't figure out what size furniture actually does fit. And then when there is staging and appropriate size furniture in there, then it all clicks and it makes sense to them. Although usually their own furniture is, I think, too big for the space. That's my personal opinion.
But you're right. And it's amazing. It's a phenomenon. I think that you put furniture in a bedroom, it always looks bigger. And over again, I've had people say, oh, the master bedroom's kind of small, so maybe we shouldn't stage it. And I'm being like, no, that's why we need to stage it. We need to stage it. It's going to look bigger. Let us stage it. And I'll increase that square footage for you because it's a little miracle of staging is adding furniture and making it look bigger. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I'm dying to see some of these before and afters that you have brought to the show today. And I know we have listeners that also kind of geek out on this stuff too. So I'm sure they're dying to see it too. So I think, Andy, you should pull up the first ones. What are we looking at here?
This is a before picture of a master bathroom. And this home was in a nice area of Corvallis, and you can see that shower door there. It's kind of the accordion plastic style. And this was really a cool, overall, could be a cool mid-century home. And let's go to the next slide. And then we can see how the master there just had the old Formica. But the master bathroom wasn't the biggest problem in this house. It had the old carpeting throughout and a lot of issues with it. So we ended up working up a budget, and the owners invested about $35,000 total in this project.
The whole house.
In the whole house, all new flooring, all new paint, and things like that. And let's go ahead and look at the after on the bathroom. So here's the same bathroom. It has different flooring, new shower door and shower head and things like that. And then painted new light fixture. The counters, we actually didn't replace with new quartz. We actually had them epoxied, so it looks like quartz. And which is much.
So those are actually Formica counters under that?
There it is, but it looks like quartz, yeah. And put on different hardware and things like that. So in this whole home, the original asking price, the agent said that he would have listed between $5,000 and $515,000. They invested about $35,000 in the whole home remodel, and they received over $600,000 for this house.
Wow.
So they about tripled their money. I have quite a few remodels this past year, similar type situations that, that sellers are receiving 3 to 1 for what they have invested. And, the right choices, the right light fixtures. We staged this house very mid-century. We brought in some really cool light fixtures and things like that. We did laminate throughout the living room, got rid of all the carpeting in the primary living area. And so made good choices and kind of prioritize their budget so that we could maximize their returns. So super, super fun experience. And I love helping. It's nice for sellers when they work with us or somebody like us that can help them with good choices, because basically they just walked away and they said, okay. And they came back, a month later, and it's like, yay, it looks so much better,
That's the best way to do it, is if you've got sellers that are willing to say, hey, you have free reign to go ahead and do your magic, that's the best. And I think that sellers benefit the most when that happens.
I have a job in Kaiser right now that it is the most amazing home, and the sellers are very attached to the home. It's an estate situation. And so like wallpaper removal and some of those things, I'll make a little headway and they'll say, okay, yeah, you can do that. And then it's like, oh, no, we changed our mind. We really like that metallic butterfly wallpaper, and but so I can't sell it to everybody. Sometimes people are just too emotional about their properties. But if people can let go and make some good decisions on updates, it makes all the difference in the sale.
Yeah.
Well, obviously that last one totally did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like what you say, Andrea, about kind of giving the control. I think that's a huge piece of it, is sellers probably want to invest this money and they just don't know or have the skills to be able to manage the contractors and the timelines and things like that, and probably can't if they work. And it's just so much easier to give it to somebody who knows what they're doing, knows how to get the best return on investment, and can manage the project without it having be burdensome. And I think that's the biggest key, that a lot of stagers just come in and stage, but there's other pieces of it that need to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I see there's a couple other stagers around that I've seen, and it's not anyone that we have recommended. And due to the fact that when we go into these listings, it just looks like somebody has put some furniture in there, as opposed to actually really thought out what types of furniture, the size of the furniture needs to go in there. And I think if it's not done correctly, it can actually be a deterrent to sale.
I totally agree. And I know that lots of times we get asked to do, like lighter staging. We want just a little bit of staging. We want to save money. And I try to educate people and understand that, for example, one thing that I've seen other staging companies do is they'll just put a couple of chairs in a living room with a side table and then some plants or something like that. So, that doesn't show conversation. That doesn't show that, yes, you can have an 8-foot sofa in this room. It doesn't, it's, to me, it's totally distracting. And I totally agree. It's something that I don't think should happen. It's better to go vacant than to have that kind of staging. So I have to confess, we're at a real advantage because we have inventory for 95 homes. Mm-hmm. And so we have a huge warehouse to choose from. So usually we have, and honestly, if I don't have the right thing, I'm going to buy it. Because I don't want to put a dinette set in a dining room that needs 6 nice padded chairs and a bigger table, and to show, wow, you can have Christmas dinner here, instead of, oh, is this an outside bistro table? Those kinds are distracting. And I see that sometimes when sellers are trying to also, when they're trying to stage their own homes, sometimes they're compromising where they would be better off to rent a few items and bring in appropriate items.
I 100% agree. And when it comes to cost, I think that there's a variety of packages that you offer. And so staging can actually be pretty affordable, whether people realize it or not.
And I think that's part of, people don't know, is this $5,000? If you watch like $1 Million Listing or some of those shows on TV, I would love, trust me, I would love to charge like that. It's never going to happen in Oregon though, but I think that's part of the problem, is that people just, and you have said this, people, it's hard to know the value of it or be able to see it or see how magical it is until you've experienced it. And you both have seen houses vacant and then staged. And Jennifer, I remember that house of Grayson's. It was a gorgeous, great room. It was, and this was like when great rooms were just starting to be really the big trend. But everybody would come in, and it would be like, we don't know how to arrange our furniture because this is a big great room. And you would think that it would be, oh, this is easier because it's a great room.
No, it's hard.
And, yeah, people just couldn't get it.
People don't really have the imagination unless they've seen it first.
Yeah, absolutely. And another example, I had a listing, you said style makes a big difference. I had a listing up here in Portland that was listed by another agent and staged by a different stager. And it was it was a Portland bungalow, and it had kind of an Asian style of staging, and it didn't work with the house. And I got the listing, and I had Margaret come in and stage it appropriately for 1940s bungalow. And with the cumulative time that it had on the market, we did do a little bit of a price reduction. I think it was overpriced, but came on with new photos and new staging, and it did sell pretty quickly. And that was when the market was not great. It was beginning of 2013, I believe, when things hadn't really started to pick up. And so we've talked about, style wise, it does make a difference in how you stage for certain houses, and having the right inventory does make a huge difference. So those are two great personal examples. My husband used to be a home builder, and so the house that Margaret's referring to, we had on the market for probably like 4 months, and it was 2000, probably 8 or 9 or something like that, when the market was not great, and the staging is really what sold it.
Yeah. So back to style. Today we're staged it's probably a 60s or 70s house that hasn't had a lot of updating, really doesn't have a lot of classic style. It's not like, oh, that's a cool mid-century, or, oh, I love it, it's a bungalow. It's just that ranch that doesn't have a lot of, so we're not going to take, this traditional grandma furniture in there and make it look like that. We're going to make it look like, hey, this could be a wonderful, beautiful home. And, the style of that furniture actually is going to make a total transformation, and people will be able to, kind of ignore some of the datedness. And it doesn't sound like it should make a huge difference, but it makes all the difference.
Oh, I think it makes a huge difference, because that using updated furniture makes people realize that, oh yeah, this home isn't so dated that it's going to be an inconvenience to my life. They want to know that they can live their everyday life and feel comfortable in it. But grandma's old furniture just doesn't really convey that message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are I want to see the next before and afters.
Okay, awesome. So this is an actual listing photo. And, so first of all, lighting is so key. And lots of homes don't necessarily have good overhead lighting in living rooms, if there's no center fixture. But really, the overall original listing was very, very dark. And no one, especially in Oregon, wants to live in a dark house. We all like the light and bright. And so this was on the market for a while. The owners got everything moved out, and we came in and staged it.
I might add that they don't even have one single light on in the photo.
Nope, no, it's just that natural light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
my gosh.
This, I am wild about that ceiling. I think it's just stunning. And when we brought in contemporary furniture, it was a whole different home. Just, an entire different home. And actually we were nominated from this photo. We were nominated for and won International Staging Association Award. So
Wow,
How cool.
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, that is literally my mouth dropped when you did that reveal. That is incredible. And that house, I love, like you said, the ceiling and the beams and those windows. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's totally gorgeous. And so also as agents are marketing themselves, I think that the first agent, whoever that was, they're also not doing themselves a good service, because if I'm looking at their listing properties, I'm going to look at how they're being presented, and I'm going to be like, why are these photos so bad? And of course, it helps that we added some color. We added a lot of light and brightness in the room, in addition to lighting as well.
Did you add overhead lighting as well?
It was there.
Oh, really? It just wasn't turned on in the pictures?
Some of the
originally
bulbs had been burned out or something. I don't even remember. But yeah, you can see here that there is some of that lighting there at the ceiling on the left-hand side.
What a difference the light furniture does too, because
Yeah.
in the old picture it was all that dark chocolate,
Mhm.
and I think it just made it more cave-like.
Yeah.
And to me, that couch, it may not be, but it just looks worn out. Like the furniture just looks, I
It
don't know.
looks like somebody's dog has been resting on the edge of that sofa.
Yeah.
And it's really tough, like the comfy leather sofas and things like that. Once they're nice and broke in, it's tough to make them look really photo perfect again. And we're pretty picky now about the style and the furniture that we buy, because we know what's going to photograph best. I have to say, this white sectional, if we would have bought 20 of them, I probably could have sold every single one of them, because everybody goes wild over this white sectional, and it's got a really low back, so it's really sleek. And yeah, everybody loves that sectional, and it photographs really, really well.
It's beautiful.
Chairs too. I think those are really cool. And I think, again, this is a perfect example of, the right furniture to showcase that house. You needed something mid-century and cool.
Yeah. So
absolutely. Good job on those ones. Wow.
Thank you. Well, and we do it every day. That's what we do.
Well, and I think that's what's so exciting for us as realtors is we get to see those before and afters all the time. And that's how we have become believers in staging. We can see the investment in the beginning, and we can see, the dollars in the end. And it's our job to try and get the highest price as we can. And so we're going to use every tool in our tool chest that is possible. And Margaret, you're in our tool chest. So how does it feel to be in our tool chest?
Well, we love what we do, and we love to be in your tool chest, because we also think that it's always really sad for us when home sellers haven't been represented well, and we think that that's an important piece. And it's okay if they, if you advise them to do some staging and things like that, if they choose not to. But I think one of the saddest times in my entire career is when the market wasn't very good, and I was meeting with an older woman whose house had been on the market a really, really long time, and it was vacant. And I went and I had a really honest conversation with her about some updating that was needed. And it wasn't like $25,000 of updating. It was like, $2,500, lights and painting and things like that, and some staging. And she actually broke down and cried, and she said, I don't see why my agent didn't tell me this, 6 months ago, because I've been having this house sit here and I've been having to maintain it and everything and worry about it and so, bottom line was she trusted us. We changed out some light fixtures, did some minor things, staged it, got it sold within, like 35 days. Well, we like that experience for people. That's,
That's a win-win when you can actually get, when people's goals are met. That's really what it's all about. And trying to get them from A to B in the best possible way. And that includes getting a really good return on your investment. So, well, I think, Margaret, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think that all of our listeners and viewers are just going to love seeing all these before and afters. We will be posting the before and afters to our website, and probably a link to creative concepts and contracting. So if anyone wants to check out more of the before and afters, just go to Margaret's website. And then also we will share real quickly our submission that we received. We've had one submission, and I think that we've got more on the way for our Christmas light photo contest. But this one is super cute and just very classic and looks very cozy. So keep those photos coming, because you'll be entered into our contest to win a couple of gift cards. So, but thank you all for joining us today. That's all we've got time for. This has been RealOregonLifestyle.com. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. And thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.